Hit a record button. There's our friend telling us we're ready to record. So first of all, thank you guys for joining us for our 2025 Interscholastic Unified Track and Field pre-competition webinar for our state invitational next week. A lot of folks that are attending, I know, are veterans, so a lot of this will seem pretty usual to you guys. We try to keep things consistent year to year, not only for things to be easy on the school systems, but for your athletes to get used to and, get prepared for what the tournament has in store because it is a long day. Um, Main thing that we want to start off with, these are the schools going on which day. I don't think any of this should be new information to anybody. We've worked this stuff out with your region, your district representatives, and we have that all taken care of. I know we've had some back and forth with one or two teams clarifying things. And for Tuesday and Wednesday, we should be good to go. Again, you can see that Tuesday has more team names than Wednesday. But that's because we have smaller teams on Tuesday. We have a good handful of smaller teams. Wednesday's day, though, still equals out to about the same amount of participants as Tuesday. So regardless, we're about 325 to 375 participants per day at this point. Rain dates. We have multiple backup plans. We realized we needed that last year, so we stick with that game plan now. So if we need to use Thursday as a rain date, we will go at Sports and Learning Complex, same song and dance as Tuesday and Wednesday. If we need to use Friday again, and I am begging the weather folks to not make us use Friday again, but if we do, our friends at Northwestern will host us again. They've done an awesome job last year taking care of us, supporting our needs for our tournament. And it's a really great facility within the same neck of the woods as Sports and Learning Complex. So just prepare yourselves. If for some reason we need weather dates, Thursday is at Sports and Learning. Friday would be at Northwestern if we need to bump that far into the week. Team divisions, we're still working out a few roster kinks. We want to make sure we have the right number of participants on rosters before we set the team divisions. So we will have them with your final rosters to you guys by Thursday of this week. We just want to make sure that our team divisions have the most up-to-date participation numbers per roster so we get everybody in a good competitive division. Crystal balling things, the Tuesday teams will probably have 4 or 5 divisions. I'm leaning probably more towards 4. And then Wednesday will likely have 3 to 4. I'm leaning more towards 3. So again, we will have team divisions and your final rosters to you guys by Thursday. I'm going to quickly go through team scoring. I think most of you are familiar with this from districts. But essentially, just a reminder, for every race or heat that your students are in, whoever comes in first place will earn 5 points. Whoever comes in second place receives 3 points. And whoever comes in third place receives 1 point. If you have anybody that comes in fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth in a race, in a shot put heat, they don't earn any points for your team. We then take all your points, we add them up based off of how many first, second, and third you get, and the points that correlate to those positions, and we add them together. The last step is that teams have a weighted score. So there's a little example below. Essentially, the way it works is if you have a division of 14, 12, 12, and 12, the team of 14 is your constant. For every 1 point that they earn, they get 1 point. For every team that has 12 participants, they'll get 1.17 points. Divide 14 by 12. I'm not a math guy. I say that to you guys all the time over the years. But this is as deep as my math skills get at this point. No calculus and stuff like they had me do in college right over my head. This is my math skill at this point. If you have questions about team scoring, you can always go back into the rule book that we put out in the beginning of the year, or it'll be in the event guide as well that will come out Thursday or Friday as well. Questions on team scoring with the quick overview that we did. I'm totally open to answering questions if you have questions on scoring. Fantastic. If you have a question, you can unmute or throw it in the chat. I'm watching the chat as well. So if you think of something along the line, don't be afraid to throw it in there as well. The event guide, we will have it on the coach resource page. We have a coach resource page for all of our high school interscholastic unified sports on our website. It will also be in your packet. It's always in your packet. So if you want the event guide early, one, it'll be on the coach page. Two, it'll be in your packet. And three, 99.9% of the time, which I'm planning this week, I will send you a digital copy via email as well. So be prepared for that. Again, that just has some of the additional details that we'll go over tonight. Venue map. If you have been to sports and learning for track and field states before, we are not changing the layout in any way, shape, or form. Main things that you need to know is that for track staging, where the big A is down here, you report down there. Once we get your student checked in, once we get their lane assigned to them and put their number on them, we will move them over to this blue rectangle here. Jane Dunn will stage them with her staging team. We'll put them on the track and we rock and roll. Pretty quick process at the track staging. Field staging. When it's time for your participants to do their field events, you guys will have to cross where right at the end of the track here at the 100-meter mark and go to the tent where C is. Big tent, and we'll go from there. Two vectors in the field for softball, throw, and mini jav. Two shot put pits right behind the tent in that D area. For individuals that are doing long jump, we will stage them in the C where the big tent is, and we'll walk them across to E where long jump is. That's always been our process. It's always worked well. We are sticking with that process. Additional stuff. So H is where we will actually have our merchandise. There will not be concessions this year. They've kind of changed their process a little bit for sports and learning complex. We have to meet minimum thresholds and all those kind of things for concessions. With that said, we will have really nice Wawa donated boxed lunches. It'll come with a sandwich or salad. It'll have chips. It'll have cookie. It'll have a water. But we do encourage you guys, pack a cooler full of beverages, pack some extra snacks, so on and so forth. But merchandise and lunch pickup and all that stuff will be out here by H. Additionally, in this building by H is where you will find the restrooms. Last note is if you are down at track staging and somebody decides I need to be staged, but I also need to use the bathroom, we will have porta pots there. We will have at least one ADA, and we will have a individual regular stall as well with a hand washing station right by track staging. Always recommend that if you know you're getting towards that track staging time for you guys or field staging, good time to ask everybody if they need a bathroom break before you get down there. I did see a question come in about gluten-free option. It is the salad. I will say with Wawa, they are one of the nicer salads. But as somebody that typically eats the vegetarian option myself at tournaments, I will also pack an additional snack. I know salad isn't fully filling all the time, but our gluten-free, our dairy-free, our vegetarian option is the salad. So that is a good question. This is a sample schedule of events. The biggest thing is that from most districts, I think outside of Frederick, everybody kind of does the track events, then they do their field events, and then we do awards. We don't have that luxury, otherwise it would be pure chaos at the state tournament. So what we do is we set up a schedule for the day where if we have 3 divisions like this example, Division 1 will start on the track. Division 2 will take a break. They will be in the stands. They'll be resting. And Division 3 will start in the field. Once Division 3 is done with their field events, they'll come off for their rest. Division 2 will go onto the track, and Division 1 will go from the track to the field. So we kind of do a rotate situation. And what that does is not only gives you a break between your events, but also allows us to be in a spot where we have less conflicts with folks needing to report for a track event while they're doing their field event. So I will get you this official schedule based off of your day and what team division you're in with the team divisions on Thursday. So be prepared for that. Additionally, just so you guys know, in your packets when you arrive on site, you will have reports that are in time sequence based on when your athletes are supposed to report to things. So realistically, one of the forms in your packet, and we'll go over it in the coaches meeting, essentially is the start to finish of the day of your specific athletes. Additionally, we have one that goes by division and all that kind of stuff. So we'll cover that stuff in the coaches meeting so I can show you those individual pieces of paper. They're tremendously helpful. Um, Lastly, we'll get to this towards the end, but with your bibs, each bib has a label on it that also says your athlete, what events they're doing, and what their report time is. So be on the lookout for that stuff in your packet. We will go over details of that in the coaches meeting. Really quick, gonna pause. Any questions about the layout or schedule type of stuff? Again, I will get you additional details on schedule Thursday. Okay, cool. Big page that I'd like to really take a minute on to hit accommodations. If you have athletes or partners or whomever on your team that need some additional things to make the day successful for them, please email me. A, right after this webinar is the best time to do it, or B, before noon tomorrow. Things that we're talking about when it comes to accommodations. The biggest one for track and field is if you have a assisted runner that runs with a guide runner, a partner, coach, whoever that may be, absolutely, please tell me who they are, because I need to not only make a note of that for our officials, but I need to note that for when we're setting up lanes and divisions. If we have a division of 8 and you have a guide runner, we don't have a lane for your guide runner. So we need to know if you have an assisted runner and a guide runner. Additional other types of accommodations that are common. Lane 8 request for somebody with noise sensitivity. If you have somebody that's sensitive to the gun, we start every race with the gun. Go ahead and put in a request that they need a lane 8. With that said, if we have everybody requesting lane 8, we only have one lane 8 per race, so some people will be put into 7 or 6 or however it needs to go. Additionally, another one might be, I have an athlete that really needs somebody with them in staging. Okay, that's great. The sooner we know, the better we can provide for that. Another one that I've seen in the past, we have it less often at the high school level, but I've seen that, hey, if a volunteer doesn't stand at the end of the 100-meter to stop my athlete, not necessarily, do anything to impede their race, they will run forever. So if you have something like that, please let us know. Additionally, uniform accommodations. If you have an athlete that leaves the house every day in camo shorts, their family has 15 pairs of them because it's the only thing they'll wear, otherwise they will have a awful day, let us know, right? Camo shorts do not hit the uniform policy for unified sports, but we're not going to ruin somebody's day over camo shorts if we know that that is a thing. So again, just communicate with us early, and let us know before noon tomorrow. Does anybody have any questions on accommodations? Fantastic. Um, the morning of, this is the main thing. So when you get off the bus in the morning as coaches, main thing, send your team and assistant coaches into the stands, find your spots, or putting up your tent. But as head coaches, please report to check-in, our main tent, same place it's always been. Check in, report if you have scratches for the day. Pick up your packets. It'll have your bibs, your credentials, safety pins for bibs, all the good stuff that you need for the day. Check in if you said, hey, I had somebody that needed a guide runner, confirm that. It's always good to confirm that. We'll confirm that back with you. And then also confirm your relay runners. And if for some reason that changed, if there's a scratch, there's a chance that that changed. So again, main checklist when you get off the bus as head coaches, report scratches, biggest thing for us. Get your packets, confirm your accommodations, and if you need to update relays, let us know. Let's talk relays really quick. This whole section is just going to be some rules reminder type of stuff. Again, you can have 2 4x1 teams, 2 4x2 teams per school team. And again, they just need to be registered ahead of time. When you check in, just double check that your relay teams are correct. If you need to activate an alternate, please do so in the morning when you check in. if you haven't set alternates for your relay team, um, please let us know tomorrow by noon if you have alternates. With that said, if you need to activate an alternate in the morning and you didn't give us an alternate, that's okay. That's not the biggest deal in the world. We just can't be adding people that haven't been in races and stuff before. If you've already registered a relay team, they're on there. We can change a name. That's not a big deal. So out of all the things we're asking you tonight to do by tomorrow, at some point, this is the least impactful. But if you do have alternates that you already have pre-planned, send those to us because we would love to get them in sooner rather than later to make our lives easier, okay? Questions on alternates or basic relay stuff? Fantastic. Um, Additional relay stuff. Just a reminder that the format for relay teams can be 2 athletes, 2 partners, or 3 athletes with 1 partner. We started going into the option for 3 athletes and 1 partner last year. I'm going to be honest, if we had 20 relay teams, I think 2 probably took advantage of that. What it came down to is the 3 athletes and 1 partner gave more flexibility for teams that might have been smaller rosters or had less gen ed students to allow them to get a relay team on the board. Again, 2 athletes, 2 partners is pretty much the standard that we go for, but 3 athletes, 1 partner is also fine. Looking at GMS up to this point, I think everybody's 2-2. Just a reminder for schools that have combined teams. So a good example is we have a Prince George's, Northwestern, High Point, and Duval team. That combined team can still have 2 4x1s and 2 4x2s. Just because they're a combined 3 schools doesn't mean that they can multiply by 3, is what that comes down to. And then relay teams, we do not, the only thing that we use maximum effort rule, which I'll explain in a minute, is relays. Essentially, what maximum effort rule is if your relay team comes in above 20% faster than you put in for your qualifying time or that you had from your district tournament time, they'll be disqualified. Again, I don't think we've seen this in the 4 or 5 years that I've been doing unified sports with you guys. Again, this is why we want to make sure that we get your relay times and legit relay times at districts. If you have to make an alternate, biggest thing with making an alternate and change on your relay team, especially morning of, is do your best to get somebody of comparable skill level to the person that they're replacing. Again, if you get somebody tremendously better, it's going to break that 20% threshold, could really hurt your relay team. Additionally, if you have a couple people that are absent and it really messes up your relay teams, you can't have multiple people run as alternates on multiple teams. So you can't have somebody from your 4x1 that runs your 4x1, then run on your 4x2 as well. Or you can't have an alternate that runs on both your 4x1 or 4x2. So again, we'll talk through the technicalities. Again, these are things that in 4 or 5 years, I think we've seen maybe once or twice. So, before we do softball throw, any questions on relays overall? Cool. Softball throw. Biggest thing with softball throw is you can't throw over 20 meters. If you throw more than 20 meters, you're disqualified. With that said, going through the entry scores, I don't think I've seen anybody that close. I think the closest we've got is 15-ish. So just remember, if you have somebody throwing for softball, they can't throw over 20 meters. If they're currently throwing over 20 meters, I do not suggest that you have them throw less, but at the same time, that might be your only option. So just make sure your athletes are not going over that threshold for softball throw. Mini Jav. We will have 2 vectors set up for softball and mini Jav. It's always our biggest event, so we are going to keep rolling and rolling and rolling in the field with mini Jav and softball throw. Just a reminder for mini Javs, they have to be thrown overhand, and the rubber tip at the end has to hit the ground to be a legal throw. I think most folks are good with that, but if the plastic fake feathery part at the back hits first, that throw doesn't count. They still have 3 throws. They're good to go. Um, Uniforms. Really quick, touching base on uniforms. You have to be in the right uniform. And the right uniform depends on what your school is. The main thing that we care about when it comes to right uniform is everybody is wearing the same unified sports top. It has your team name or your school name, and it has that unified sports logo, which I don't have on me, but hold on. Let's see if I can get it on my camera. The little unified sports pill. So that's the main thing that we care about on the top part. When it comes to the lower part of the uniform, some teams are blessed with matching shorts or pants, whatever that may be. That's awesome. Congratulations. Great for you. If your team does not have matching shorts or whatever, just tell your team to wear the same color bottom and get as close as you can. If you say, please wear black shorts for the day, I don't care if they're Walmart shorts. I don't care if they're Under Armour shorts. I don't care if your grandmother made the shorts for you. As long as they are pretty much the same color and don't have any crazy designs or anything on them, that's perfectly fine with us. The other main thing that is extremely important for track and field for uniform is make sure they're wearing athletic sneakers. They need to be sneakers. We're not running in Crocs or Hey Dudes or anything like that. Look, I love my Hey Dudes. They are super duper comfy. Not worth running in. You're going to get hurt at that point. So please make sure they're wearing athletic shoes. If they want to wear slides or Hey Dudes or whatever on the bus on the way down, perfectly fine. Pack sneakers as well. Um, Last thing for uniforms that I want to make sure people know, no jewelry. Jewelry has to come off when you are going and running on the track, especially. We don't want anybody getting caught or something, that happens. They're pumping their arms and a chain gets caught in their fingers. No jewelry. So make sure the jewelry's off when you hit the track. My team will do a good job looking for that. We will do our best to catch that stuff at check-in. But please, please, please tell your student athletes, quite honestly, just leave it at home for the day. Um, Also, because if you take it off and you're running around all day and it's in your bag, sometimes stuff gets lost. We don't want that to happen either. No jewelry. Again, this covers a lot of the stuff we talked about. If you have religious or medical headwear, that's perfectly fine. Sneakers, we talked about the coach approved shorts or pants of whatever color. You can wear, sweatbands on your head, wristbands, armbands, solid color. That stuff is fine. If you have students that want to wear headbands, that's fine. Again, any sort of visible garment underneath, we want to be the same color. If for some reason it happens, and I don't think it's going to be a chilly day, for us for track and field, if they want to wear Under Armour underneath, same thing like the shorts, just tell them, hey, we're going for black, white, gray, blue, whatever you want to say is your team color. Additionally, if they want to wear if they're again they're sensitive to the cold, if they want to wear a sweatshirt under their uniform, that's fine. We get it. We're not going to beat you up about the cold. We don't want your athletes freezing out there, especially if they're going to be in staging before they do their event. Again, covers the legging type of situation. We want them in athletic wear. Any questions on anything in uniforms? Fantastic. Uh, good question. Uh, are noise canceling headphones permitted while running? Typically, the answer is no to that. But if you have an athlete that needs to wear them because of their disability or just their sensitive needs, like for auditory purposes, that's part of accommodation. Send us an email after this saying, hey, I have an athlete that has to wear their headphones. Otherwise, they get overstimulated. If they don't need to, no earbuds, no anything like that. If they need it for ambulatory purposes or for auditory purposes, that is perfectly fine. Please just send us an email. Let's talk bib numbers. Again, for you that have been to states before or some of the districts, this isn't your first song and dance. This isn't exactly what our current bibs look like, but bibs are bibs. They all have the big numbers in the middle, and we will have labels for you guys in the morning to put on your bibs on the bottom side of them. The biggest thing is when you are putting your labels on your bibs, please make sure that the numbers match. If they don't match, either A, you are holding the wrong bib label in the wrong bib, or B, I don't know which numbers I assigned to the right person and I messed that up. So, if for some reason you have unmatching numbers, A, double check you have the right bib and the right label. B, come see me because sometimes I don't do numbers great. But that's the main thing. Every athlete and partner that is participating that day will have a bib label, and they need to wear it. The best thing about the bib labels is that they will have their event, it'll have their division, and it'll have their staging time. That doesn't mean that's the time that they're competing, that's their staging time. So, especially if mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, whoever comes and wants to watch, you can let them know that, hey, they're probably running, their 100 meter, they're staging at 10:45. They'll probably be on the track about 11 o'clock. So you can give folks a heads up. Plus, you can plan out your day a little bit using that information. Last thing, this picture is where we want the bib. Um, with your uniforms, we want them right in that tummy section so that our finish line folks can see the number coming down and so that our start line folks can see it in the front as they walk the line before they start the race. Again, in your delegation packet, you will have the bib, you will have the labels to stick on your bibs, and you will have 4 safety pins per bib. Um, we will do our best to count that many safety pins. If for some reason you go through your packet, you start pinning bibs on and you're short, just come back to Control Center. We'll get you more safety pins for your bibs. Questions on bibs? Fantastic. Competition areas. So one thing that we like to do for track and field, because there are so many people and so many moving pieces, if we can help it in the staging area specifically, we want to limit the amount of people that are non-credentialed folks or credentialed folks in the staging areas to keep the flow moving for the day. The more bodies we have in staging for track or field, or people that are crossing across the track to get to field staging, slows everything down because then we got to wait for people to cross the track, or we're calling for somebody for staging and nobody can hear because there's too many people in there talking. Additionally, in the middle of center field is not somewhere to hang out for the day either. If you are not running on the track, if you're not going into staging for the track or the field, please make sure your team is in the stands. We want to keep those areas as clear as possible. Or if they need to be, they can be at the restrooms or merchandise or whatever. But please keep the staging areas clear. With that said, what we're going to do is in each team's packet, you guys will get an all access pass or two, depending on the size of your team. If you guys can, as coaches, say, hey, I need somebody to go with this person over to staging, take it, put it in your credential, and walk that person over to staging. Everybody will have one of those, if not two of them, depending on your team size. So you'll have access. Additionally, when we talk about limited access to staging and stuff, as a coach, if you need to get to an athlete or you need to do something with an athlete in staging, we're not going to hold up and make your life miserable. But if you do need to go in, just go in, do what you need to do, and pop back out, right? Again, the clearer we keep the staging areas, the quicker we can churn through what we need to do, the quicker your students go from check-in to staging to doing their event and actually participating. Questions on the quote unquote limited access and crowd control and staging from anybody? Fantastic. Okay, staging. Let's talk staging really quick to get everybody on the same page. So we put announcements will not be made before a report time to somebody's event. we'll make announcements. We just don't want to promise that we're making an announcement for every single event to report individually. So for the track, 99.9% of the time, the way the announcement will be made to report the staging is on the track, division 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it may be, the heats 101, 102, 103, 104, please report to staging. And we'll call them that way. We're not going to call each individual heat from each individual division to track staging. Same thing goes for field staging. In the field is the team division 1, 2, 3, 4. Please report. A lot of the times with field staging, I'll be honest, we just call the team division, report to that tent out there, and then they'll start calling individual divisions in the tent. We give you the bibs and we give you the time sequence reports that if you have not heard your division called, and if you also see that your staging time is 11:15, please do not show up to track staging at 10:45. You being there earlier does not do anything for getting your athlete on time or earlier. It's not like showing up for a doctor's appointment. We don't miraculously have a spot for you to go earlier. So if it says your staging time is 11:15, show up at 11:10, 11:12, 11:15 even. That's really when we want you guys to be there. If somebody misses their track heat, we will not make up that track heat. We keep going on the track, otherwise we will stall out and it'll be a long day. One thing that I want to clarify with the track. If your student athlete, if we're running ahead, right? Sometimes miraculously on the track we are running ahead, right? With that said, if we are running ahead and we do not have everybody from a heat and it is not time for that heat to go yet, we will not run that heat. So you won't miss a track event because we're early. If we have everybody and we're running early, sure, we will absolutely run that heat and run early, but only if we have everybody. With that said, if we're missing somebody and that heat is supposed to run, we usually a minute or two before we run that heat, my team in staging will say, hey, we're still looking for this person. We will potentially make an over the PA announcement that we're looking for this person or this school. And then if we don't have that person and it's time for that heat to run based off of the schedule, we will run it. Does that make sense for folks? Cool. Okay. Um, Other thing that I want folks to know, if for some reason we're usually pretty good based off of that schedule I talked about at the beginning, if for some reason you have somebody that's supposed to be in the field throwing mini jab, but they're also now for some reason supposed to be on the track running, always, always, always go run that track event. Again, we are not making up heats for any reason. We got to keep the track moving to keep the day moving. With that said, if we need to roll somebody back out to throw their 3 throws for mini jab and it's a different team division out there, we can do that. That's easy enough based on the schedule to slide somebody in there and do that. If you have a conflict and you're at field, or you have an athlete in the field staging, go out there as a coach, tell the staging folks, hey, this athlete needs to go run their track event. They'll say, awesome. We'll make a note of it. Go run your track event and then come back out and we will do your field event. Okay. The track always takes priority. That's the biggest thing to note for sure. Um, Again, reminder, you will have on your sheets for the time sequence report and on your bibs, report times. That is not the running time. So make sure you're at staging at the time on your time sequence reports and on your bibs, but don't expect if it says 10:45 to run at 10:45. Again, that is the staging time. And then the last note again here is if we're running ahead and we have everybody for a heat, we'll run that heat. If we are ahead, but we don't have everybody, we will not run that heat until we have everybody, or it is now officially time for that heat to run. Any questions on staging? Great. Fall starts. I think all of you guys probably at this point know Al Ramsey, our head official. Al and his crew do an awesome job, especially Al with the starts. Um, when it comes to false starts, essentially false starts are charged to the individual, not the whole line. If somebody commits a false start, they'll do another start. But if they false start a second time, the race goes and that person is DQ'd. So that is how we handle false starts. I want to go back one more thing. Also on the track, it comes up at least once a year. If somebody strays from their lane, if they stray from their lane and they don't impede on somebody else's progress, they won't be DQ'd. So if they have a big lead and they stray, not a big deal. If they're behind and they stray, not a big deal. If they stray and it impedes somebody else's progress, that's when they'll be DQ'd. Again, reminder about competition accommodations. Please reach out, send me an email after this. But before noon tomorrow, send me emails about accommodations. I tell folks all the time, if you have a question about whether something's an accommodation or not, send the email no matter what. I'd rather you send the email to me and me say, don't worry, that's not something that we need to write an accommodation for, than you assume that it's not an accommodation, and then you show up on Tuesday morning and I say, why don't you email me? So please, please, please send accommodation requests. Buses. This is always a fun point, right? Sports and Learning is a great facility. They hire and bring in some of their staff to direct buses and get you guys to the right place for us. So again, in the morning, everybody comes off Sheriff Road, rolls up to the front of the facility and drops off. Your bus driver will then be directed either two places. A, they'll be directed up into the red zone lot for FedEx Field if there's not a conflict with FedEx Field that day. Or B, they'll send them around the backside and they'll park them in the lot way up here. Make sure you get your bus driver's contact information. It's the best way to get a hold of them when you are done with the day. Additionally, if you have people that are coming that are driving individually, the two lots just underneath the actual field itself, you can park in, and then additionally, the one across the way here in blue, you can also park in. This green line for drop-off pickup, if we use the red lot, that's the best place to be picked up at the end of the day. It's the most convenient. You can walk right out the cement driveway, get on the bus, and roll right out. Any questions on buses? George, I know you're on here. Any input from you from past years about buses or notes for folks?
No, Zach, I think you've covered it well. Just keep an eye on that is an open road where the
Yeah.
buses are stopping and discharging and loading at the end of the day. So just keep an eye out. And other than that, I think it's worked pretty well. I don't know. Have we heard of any? I don't think we've heard of any complaints. I think it's worked pretty well.
No, I think it's been pretty good. Again, having the parking attendants is a huge help as well for directions. Uh, Awards, Tyler, do you want to cover this section about awards? It's pretty much the same deal as last year, but it'd be nice to fill folks in.
Yeah, it's pretty much going to be the same as last year. Once your team is done with all your events, you'll go to the bleachers, the far side that is closest to merchandise and lunch pickup. Yeah, right where Zach's cursor is. That'll be roped off for award staging. You'll check in with me. Then when it's your team's turn, I will send you down to George, who will help get you lined up and lead you onto the stage. The only thing different from last year to this year is the addition of a sportsmanship trophy. Um, in your packets you get in the morning, there'll be a blank little slip that we ask you write down a team that you thought displayed excellent sportsmanship throughout the day. Whoever gets the most votes, sorry, just blanked. Whoever gets the most votes will get a special trophy in addition to their normal awards at the end of the day when they get presented.
Fantastic. And we'll remind you at the coaches meeting about the sportsmanship award. It's gone really well for the past two seasons. And it's been a nice add Some additional notes just on awards facilitation coming off the heels of competition. Again, you'll be presented as team awards as your whole team division finishes. Just a reminder how we like to finish the day. If there's 3 team divisions, we will do the 4x1 and 4x2 relays at the end of the day for team division 1. And as soon as they're done, we will send you guys to awards. While that team division is being awarded, we will run the 4x1 and 4x2 for division 2. As you finish, we'll send you to awards, and then we'll do Division 3. We kind of tier it off at the end of the day, so everyone's not piling up at awards. So just remember, we will have full team divisions finished. So we'll do 100 4x1s, 4x2s. Next team division comes up 4x1, 4x2, so on and so forth. Again, just remember that even though you may have the majority of your individual track and individual field events done, there's a lot of times that our final score and who places where depends on that relay. So if you only have a 4x1 team and you come off the field, you're ready for awards, you're in staging, just know that a lot of the times we got to wait till the 4x2s are done for your team division to figure out the final score. So have patience for sure. Like Tyler said, when you guys are at awards, listen for announcements. Tyler will be working with teams in the stands to get you situated, and then he will send you off to George, and then George will get you guys resituated to actually get your awards. Again, this is kind of our layout. The green area is where we will have you guys staged, like Tyler said. The pink and blue section, we will have an additional section roped off within the award section for teams that have anybody that's a wheelchair participant. So if you're a team that doesn't have a wheelchair participant, please go further up into the stands than sit down at the lower section, please. Once that's done, George, when Tyler sends you down to George, you'll end up in one of those 2 yellow areas, and George and his volunteers will get you guys lined up based on your placement. They'll then walk you up when it's appropriate onto the red award stand. You guys will get your award. You'll have pictures taken, usual song and dance for awards. And then if you guys can go back up in the stands, collect your stuff, and head out following the green arrow or out between the yellow sections, that would be fantastic. Just again, if you happen to head out through the yellow section, that's fine. Just be cognizant that there's people trying to get their awards. The awards team, George, Tyler, are trying to get things set up. So just be mindful that there are people there trying to get things done, close out the day. Questions on awards, closing out the day. Oh. All right. Big thing here, if you do not have my cell phone number already, please take down my cell phone number. We are blessed with a fantastic facility at Sports and Learning Complex, but you do have to traverse 495 for the majority of people. And on a weekday, you all know how fun 495 is, along with any sort of 95. So please, 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 if you're running late, send me a text, call me, just let me know. Again, we can help you and pivot things around to the best of our ability if you guys give me a heads up. If I don't have a heads up, we're just rolling forward as we need to. So please, please, please take down my cell phone number. Additionally, if there's something that you need that comes up between now and Tuesday, send me an email. Know that it's going to take a minute or two to get back to you guys. We got a lot of stuff going on with prep work. We're also prepping for state bocce on the 20th as well. But if for some reason there's something really important that comes up, or you have a really important question that you need answered ASAP, send me a text, call me on my cell phone, and I will get back to you guys for sure, okay? Again, before getting off your bus, get your bus driver's number. At the end of the day, there's nothing sweeter to line up getting your awards and the bus is ready there for you. As soon as you have your awards and stuff, hopping on that bus and heading back home after a long day is a great feeling, especially when you have beautiful new medals and ribbons around your neck. So make sure you get your bus driver's number so you can contact and coordinate with them at the end of the day. I said this up front. Pack a cooler for the stands. We will have coolers of water. Wawa will be providing water with lunch, but feel free to pack your own coolers of whatever floats your boat for your team. Again, snacks. Pack healthy snacks throughout the day. Pack bananas, pack granola bars, all that kind of stuff. Definitely important. Additionally, if you have pop-up tents that you're bringing with your teams, it gets hot in the stands. I highly recommend bringing a 10 by 10 pop-up. Please bring it with you and put it up in the stands. That's fine. But please also bring something to weigh the tent down. Even on a slightly breezy day, it can get upended, and we don't want a tent flying off the stands onto people or onto the track. Additionally, we will have merchandise for sale. We do have some new shirts and stuff. Tyler, you can confirm, I believe we have IUS shorts now, which are pretty nice.
Yep.
Cool. So everybody loves merch. We will have merch. Cash, credit cards work. We also now take Venmo as well. So if folks do the Venmo thing, they can scan the QR code and pay that way as well. Here's the fun part, folks. If you remember last year, we had some weather stuff, and as of right now, we have a little weather potentially scheduled for Tuesday and Wednesday. With that said, the amount of rain, 0.5 and 0.3, is not that much. I'm not that worried about the rain. If I'm worried about anything at the moment, and being honest, it's thunderstorms. So we will keep monitoring this. We do it for multiple events. If anybody was involved in indoor bocce this year, you got to experience a very crazy scenario with 2 back-to-back snowstorms. We will keep on it. We will do the best thing that we can do to give your students an opportunity. I need to coordinate. Didn't get a chance to talk to the facility today, but I will let you guys know in the coaches meeting. If we go on Tuesday or Wednesday and a thunderstorm rolls in, we will shut things down if there's thunder or lightning within whatever miles of the facility that the facility deems their limit, and we'll resume whatever their time limit is after. We default to our facilities on that because they have their protocols and we're using their facility. Just so folks know, if for some reason we have to go in the middle of competition and get out of a thunderstorm or rain, we will cross the street and we will go to the indoor track. As much as I would love to continue the meet on the indoor track, that's just not something that works that way. But we will go into the main facility if there's a storm or if there's torrential rain. I will say, using our weather app in the past and how this looks, I really think that the storm/weather is going to push out one way or the other. It's going to end up in Monday or it's going to end up in Thursday. That's how it slides a lot of the time. Additionally, the other thing that we've considered with the weather is the way it looks right now is it's probably Wednesday or Tuesday evening into Wednesday morning with the way it falls on both days and how little rain it actually is. So there's a chance that, nothing happens on Tuesday, and Wednesday morning the track's a little wet and it dries up as soon as the sun comes out. So we will keep you guys in the loop just so you know what our timeline looks like for weather, and it's our usual timeline. Sunday at some point, I'll look at the weather app. I'll get a call together. I'll call Tyler. I'll call Meredith. I'll call Mike Sarnowski, our VP of sports. We'll talk through. We'll look at what it says. And if we need to make some sort of call on a cancellation and sliding days, we will make that 1,000% by Monday at noon. Because we want you guys to be able to tell your students before they leave school on Monday. Reminder of how the rain dates work for track and field. If Tuesday gets canceled for some reason, Tuesday now goes on Thursday. If Tuesday goes and Wednesday gets canceled, Wednesday goes on Thursday. If Tuesday and Wednesday get canceled, we go Thursday, Friday. We did it last year. We've made it happen before, so it's definitely possible. Really quick question, and I want feedback on this from you guys that are on the call. We batted around today and came up with a couple thought processes and options. Should we go Tuesday and for some reason a thunderstorm hits us at 1:30, right? We're 2/3 of the way through the day. but I want to get feedback on what people think. If if we have three divisions, let's say on Tuesday, and we get hit with a thunderstorm, and the amount of time it takes is we won't get back on the track for 2 hours, 3 hours, and we won't get back on the track till 3, 4 o'clock. Um, there's a couple options. A, they have lights. We can go later. I don't know if that's ideal for everybody. B, we will take whatever we have for the divisions. If everybody did in a team division all their track stuff or all their field stuff, we can just take those scores and place people based off of everybody in that division doing their track or their field stuff. C, which is the most extreme option, and would take a lot of volunteer re-support, official support, and a lot of things moving around, is if a division didn't get to do anything or we didn't complete, we could come back on Thursday. We do have the facility that day. That means re-getting a bus. That means re-getting everybody on your bus. I know that's a challenge. If a thunderstorm comes in midday, does anybody have feelings one way or the other on any of those options or experiences? Aileen, I see you're unmuted. Do you have input on that?
Well, I think it would be a good idea to set a time and say if a thunderstorm rolls in at 1 o'clock
Yeah.
and we have to go in, um, I I personally think that we should call it, because then what is the time limit? 30 minutes or so.
That's assuming it comes and goes, right? Usually it's
That's
30
assuming
minutes
if it
after
comes
the
and
last
goes.
strike. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think um, it's going to be a long day. Not just
Yeah.
for us. It's going to be a long day for the kids.
Yep.
And I'm not a fan of going into the night, just because I know
Oh, yeah.
some people are going to run out of gas and meds are going to start wearing off and different things like that. That may, be upsetting for the kids. So I think I would be in favor of just picking a time, and if a thunderstorm rolls in at such and such a time, we're going to cut it off and that's it. If it comes in before that, maybe we wait it out, pick another
Sure.
time, and say, if we can start by X time, we can roll again. But I just think that it would probably be in the best interest to set times and go by that.
Yeah, I'm seeing in the chat too. That looks like the resounding yeah, the resounding opinion on that as well. Um I'll be honest with you guys, we lean that way too. But also just giving you guys agency in how we approach giving your teams the best opportunity for state competition is how we want to approach things. So we never want to make a unilateral decision on something like this if we don't have to. So I will put it in my back pocket for now. Should we have a late afternoon or early afternoon challenging thunderstorm, that's probably the way we lean. With that said, the game plan in my mind would be we would go inside and I would call the coaches together and we would get together and talk about it before we make a final decision. We wouldn't just axe it. We would get together with you guys. But I wanted to get an initial feedback from you guys of which way you were leaning so we can just be prepared, right? Again, we want to be prepared for all scenarios. And like Galen said, if it rolls in earlier in the day, we will. Um, yeah, of course, John. If Frederick's in first place, call it. Obviously, yeah, great. Of course, of course. Like Galen said, though, if it rolls in earlier in the day, we'll try to wait it out, right? And then we may have a conversation with you guys about, okay, this is going to be over in 45 minutes. We'll be able to get back out there. We'll check the quality of the track, make sure the track is safe. If it's safe to go for track and field, we'll go back out there. But we may need to pivot and just say, this is where we pick up, this is where it happens. Again, our big thing is communication. We want to communicate with you guys communicate with us, and we're going to make it happen. So I appreciate you guys giving us feedback, though. With that said, any questions on the weather situation? Fantastic. Okay, just gonna go around the horn. I'm gonna go by county just to make it a little less chaotic. If anybody has any additional questions, anybody from the Allegheny crew have any questions? Anybody from our Charles County crew have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, perfect.
Hey, so I'm from McDonough. Do we
Yep.
know when the bus will leave from our school? Like, or do we communicate with that with like our district representative?
Yeah, that's gonna be an Allison/Seth question.
Okay.
They're in charge of the bus situation, so they're the ones to check in with for sure.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Perfect. Frederick County. Anybody have a question for Frederick? Cool. Garrett County. Anybody have a question from Garrett? All right. Our friends from Prince George's County. Anybody have a question?
Yes, Zach. Good evening.
Yeah.
It's Coach
Hi,
Ward.
Lori.
How are you? Hi. Estimated start and stop time because I put on our schedule that our children would return to, get on their buses. Can you give me an estimation, please?
I will send you guys the fact sheet with the general schedule on there. Our estimated start time is 10:45, 11 o'clock ish, and our estimated stop time is usually about 2:30, 3 o'clock ish. Again, I know some of
Okay.
the schools try to release a little bit earlier. We will try to keep the day moving as much as we can, but usually it's at like 10:45, 11 o'clock start, and then about 2:30, 3 o'clock is when we're done.
All right. You've answered my question. Thank you.
Perfect. Any additional questions from our friends in Prince George's County? Fantastic. Lastly, our friends in Washington County, any questions?
I have a quick one.
Yeah,
Um, I know we were talking about the no hats, and I think it said bandanas for headwear. We have a couple kids or boys that wear like a do-rag. Can they wear
sure.
something like that? Or
Yep, that's fine. That's fine with us. Yeah.
thank you.
Yep. Good question. Very good question. Any other Washington County questions? Fantastic. That's the whole song and dance, folks. If you guys have any questions, we'll end the recording. If you want to hang around, that's great. You can ask questions. If not, that's it. We will continue to send you information throughout the week. Be on the lookout. Tomorrow, the biggest thing is we need you guys to finish double checking your rosters. Our friends in Frederick County, we're finishing your roster double checks on our end now, so you will get them tonight. But if there's any roster updates, please double check your rosters by tomorrow evening. We need those back. Thursday, we will get you team divisions and that kind of stuff, the event guide, and all that stuff. And then Friday, you will likely get the time sequence reports and all that kind of stuff. Might roll into Saturday or Sunday, but you will get that stuff for sure. And then Monday will be last minute communications and stuff. And then Tuesday, we're rocking and rolling. So if you guys have any questions, let us know. Please reach out to us, communicate with us. We'll communicate with you. That's always how we like to rock and roll. And then lastly, thank you guys for everything that you have done this season, this whole school year. I think the Unified Sports year has been fantastic overall. And it's always nice to end the spring season with a bang at track and field. So thank you guys. And thank you guys for everything you also do outside of Unified Sports for the schools. We all know you guys wear multiple hats, and we're extremely proud of you guys and your students for doing so. So thank you. Enjoy the rest of your night. And if anybody has any
You're
questions,
welcome,
just let
Zach.
us know. We're all good, Antonio. We're done.
Yeah, no, I was on the whole time.